Shane Van Gisbergen completes his second Xfinity Series trip at Atlanta Motor Speedway and finishes 27th after getting the outside wall with around 60 laps to go and finishes 6 laps down. What's going on, guys? It's Daniel and welcome back to our video. As I just said a second ago, Shane Van Gisbergen has completed his second Xfinity Series trip at Atlanta Motor Speedway and finishes in 27th position. Last time we ran Atlanta Motor Speedway, SVG actually finished in a really good position in third and only his second Xfinity Series start. Granted, a lot of drivers did run out of gas and ran out of fuel near the end of the event, but still, Shane was able to salvage and get a very solid top 5 finish, which is very impressive. So a lot of us thought coming into race that SVG was going to have a really good chance and opportunity to win, considering last week at Darlington, he actually finished in 7th, which is a big improvement from the previous time where he finished in 15th. So we all thought coming in today that SVG was going to run very well. And he actually qualified pretty solidly. He qualified in 12th position going into the race. He actually moved up to the outside of row number 5 because AJ Allmendinger had to go to the rear of the field for an unapproved adjustment. So this moved him inside the top 10. Early in the race, SVG got a really good run, but his car was a little loose at the start and kind of was hanging up on that outside wall, but was still maintaining a very solid top 10 position. The first caution race came out lap number 10 for Ryan Sieg, who had an electrical issue and lost a couple laps, and then also had Anthony Fredo go a lap down, but Shane would stay once again inside of the top 10. But then on the second restart, for whatever reason, I think he started on the bottom, which is a little bit questionable, if you ask me, and he lost a ton of ground because of that and fell outside of the top 10. And then he continued to fall back just a little bit and unfortunately fell outside the top 15. Now he was starting to gain a little bit of ground and was starting to move his way back up to the front. By the end of stage number 1, Shane Van Gisbergen was up around the 15th or 14th position. Then he came down pit road and unfortunately lost a couple positions coming off of pit road and lost a little bit of ground also because of the fact that AJ Allmendinger, his teammate, and I believe Sammy Smith decided to stay out to try to gain track position. And then on the next restart, Shane actually got a really good run. He was starting to make some really impressive and great moves out on the racetrack. Lost a tiny bit of ground, but he was using that outside lane and was starting to make up ground and actually would be inside of the top 10 for a majority of the stage or around the top 15. But unfortunately, kind of made a little bit of a bad move about halfway through the race and lost a little bit of ground. But then he started gaining back all that ground and was starting to make some really impressive passes. He made a really great pass on a couple guys, like Sheldon Creed made a great pass on the outside. Then he had a great run on Sam Mayer and Sheldon Creed once again, and passed those guys and actually got inside the top 10. And will be around 8th or 9th for a duration of most of stage number 2. But then Sammy Smith had a really bad block on Taylor Gray and tried to put a block on him and got in the outside wall. Car catches fire. Shane was right behind him. He's luckily able to not get involved in that crash. And he would actually come the end of number stage 2 because they threw the caution. He would come the end of stage number 2 and finish inside the top 10 and get stage points, which has kind of been rare outside of the road courses for Shane this year, getting stage points. Good job for Shane there. And they came off pit road, and Shane took 4 tires and would be inside the top 10 in 9th position. And then on the restart, Shane was starting to make some really ballsy moves and was trying to do what Justin Allgaier had done because that 7 car had been really strong all day long. Unfortunately for Shane, he would make one of the rare mistakes he's made so far in 2024. Shane tried to go to the outside of Sammy Smith, coming off of turn 3, going into turn number 4. And unfortunately, he got on the outside wall, got a ton of damage, and unfortunately his chance to win the race and contend for the victory would come to an end. Now luckily Shane's day would not be over and he would still have a chance to compete in the race and not be completely out of it, but unfortunately his chance to win was sadly gone. Just a big mistake was trying to make a little bit over aggressive move. You can't be that aggressive. You still got plenty of time. And he was trying to do what Justin Allgaier had done earlier, which I respect him for that. But at the same time, just a pretty big mistake right there. And then unfortunately, they got some of the damage fixed, but unfortunately, he came on the radio with about 45 laps to go and told his team, I got a flat, and he started going multiple laps down. He went from being 1 down to 2 down, but was still 2 laps down, and then he came down pit road once again and went another 4 laps down and would be 6 laps down for pretty much the rest of this race. Now, at the time, he was likely going to finish 32nd. However, a lot of drivers started having problems. Jeremy Clements, I think, had an engine failure or something near the end of the race. A bunch of drivers in wreck with about 18 laps to go. Justin Allgaier, Cole Custer, Riley Herbst, Ryan Sieg, and Taylor Gray were all involved in the wreck, and they all eventually went out of the race. And this would move Shane Van Gisbergen up to around 26 or 27 position. And then some other guys were starting to have some issues. He was gaining ground on them, but unfortunately could not get by Riley Herbst at the end. On the final laps of the race, Austin Hill got a fantastic run and was able to pick up the victory, and Shane would come off the corner, finishing 6 laps down and finishing in 26th position. Tough day for Shane. Considering the fact, like I said, the last time we ran here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, Austin Hill did win the race, and Shane had finished in 3rd position. And it's just a little bit of a mistake that you can't make. Granted, it does happen to everybody, right? He's still kind of a rookie at this thing, and he's still learning. And he has a lot of learning that he can still do. But honestly, before this, he was doing a pretty good job just hanging out there. Wasn't making over-aggressive moves. But I feel like that with the more experience he's been having, he's been starting to make some more aggressive moves, and sometimes it worked out. Look at Darlington last week. He ran very well there. But unfortunately for Shane, just today did not go as smooth as I think he was really hoping for, and it really took him out of contention. And he needed to get as many laps as possible. Granted, he's going to have an opportunity in the Cup race tomorrow afternoon. He's going to be starting 28th or 29th there. I think Shane actually could have a really strong run. I feel like the 16 car has shown some speed at times in the Cup side, but also has been the second slowest car overall in the Cup Series this year. And we know, of course, Shane is going full-time Cup racing in a 3rd Trackhouse car for 2025. So obviously, I think Shane wants to get as many laps completed as possible. I think the experience from today, though, is really going to help him a little bit, even though crashing out, taking himself out of contention is probably not what was on the cards for Shane going into today, but the more experience that he can get, the better. The lucky thing for Shane is he's got next week. And of course, next week is going to be Watkins Glen. Not only do I think he can win the Xfinity Series race next weekend at Watkins Glen, but I think he also could win the Cup Series race. Granted, next week in the Xfinity side, he's going to have Connor Zilisch, who's making his Xfinity Series debut and probably going up against guys like Kyle Larson on the Cup side, and Bubba Wallace as well, and Kyle Busch, and other drivers like Juan Montoya, who's coming out of retirement and racing his first Cup Series race. But I really think Shane, because of how good he is on road courses, I think he's not only going to win the Xfinity race, but I think he has a really great chance to win the Cup Series race and continue to be the winningest driver so far this year. But with Austin Hill picking up the win today, now he no longer has the most wins. It's now a tie for who has the most wins this season. So, unfortunately, no longer holds those cards. But he's still got a lot of momentum. He's still in the top 12 in the regular season standings because Sam Mayer, unfortunately, had trouble. He's likely not going to get in the top 10 and get extra playoff points. So, if he's done a lot better today, he'd probably be inside the top 10. But it is what it is for Shane. You're going to have some days where just things aren't going to go well. And, hey, at least he did finish the race today. But, unfortunately, this is only his 5th or 6th top 20, finish outside the top 20. Again, Shane, I think, has done a really solid job, all things considered, so far this year. But mistakes like today, you can't make those, unfortunately, if you're still going to be looking to run. But he's still been the best rookie overall this year. Jesse Love did have a good day, but he's not been as good as SVG's been this year. And, of course, Haley Deegan, who lost the ride part of the way through the year, she really didn't have a good year. But it is what it is for Shane. He'll hopefully learn from this mistake and use some of the lessons learned from today going into tomorrow as he's getting prepared for a full-time NASCAR Cup Series run in 2025. So, that is going to be for today's video on Shane Van Gisbergen. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, notifications on, and if I win a video, it does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and support my Patreon as well. Links description below that, and comment your thoughts below on today's episode. How do you think SVG performed today, and what do you think he can do tomorrow in the Cup Series race? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Tomorrow night on the channel, we're going to have the NASCAR Cup Series race to be from Atlanta Motor Speedway. We'll also have the starting lineup video for the Quaker State 400, and we'll also likely have a Shane Van Gisbergen video dropping tomorrow afternoon as well. Then on Monday, we're going to be talking about the chart negotiations and those kind of getting done and 2311 backing out. We'll be talking about Alex Bowman, also Bubba Wallace's future a little bit as well. We're going to do a little silly season update in the coming weeks as well. And I do expect that we'll probably talk about Carlos Kerbish in the future, but we're also probably going to have other videos coming out soon, including maybe in the not so distant future, another silly season update dropping. Got a lot of great content dropping over the next couple weeks that I cannot wait for you guys to check out. So anyways, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's episode, and I'll see you guys next time for more great, awesome NASCAR content and other motorsports content on the channel like this, which will also include Michael Jordan in a big way. Take care, everybody.